Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert with the Ted Show. Super excited to have my friend Michelle, like Gazelle, Sperzel on the show with Harbor House of Central Florida. We're here to talk about the 8th annual Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event, which I think I've been there almost since the beginning, if not the beginning. It's an amazing event. It's such a great cause. The services that Harbor House of Central Florida provides. I can't wait for her to tell you more about it. So welcome back. This is your second or third go round.
I know.
You're a glutton for punishment, I think, at this point. And then of course we have Michelle with one L over to the side. She's amazing. She's the behind the scenes lady who didn't want to come on. But she's the marketing guru. How's that? She makes Michelle, Sperzel, and I have to say that 10 times, look amazing at what we do. All right, so let's get to a little bit about you, because people who have never tuned in or don't know anything about Harbor House, maybe a little bit about you and then your journey to get to Harbor House.
Absolutely. Ted Bogert, like yogurt.
Like yogurt. Can't make that up either.
So Michelle Sperzel, the girl with the rhyming name. So I have been here for 3 years. I'm starting my 4th year at Harbor House, which is just amazing. It's been a wonderful journey. And I came here via Chicago, via the Northwest Florida Panhandle. So I've been doing domestic violence work for almost 20 years.
Wow.
Just doing 3 years of it here. And I'm just so excited to be part of Central Florida. It's been a wonderful, wonderful journey being here, and such a supportive community, from people like you to the mayors to Sheriff Mina to also Chief Roland. I mean, it's just been a wonderful experience, and how many people really want to make sure that our city is safe and our county is safe for people who are experiencing domestic violence.
To talk about what Harbor House of Central Florida offers, what are the services that you provide?
So when people think about a domestic violence shelter, they typically think about the shelter itself. So we have our 120 bed shelter. We also have a confidential 24-hour crisis hotline, so anybody can call that. It can be someone who's experiencing abuse. It could be someone whose friend or family member is experiencing domestic violence and abuse. And we also have located offices in the courthouse. We have our own centralized office, and then we're co-located with some of our community partners like Orange County. We have advocates that are located with Department of Children and Family, and then we also have advocates that are located with law enforcement, because a lot of times when someone is in a domestic violence situation and law enforcement is called, we have advocates who will respond with law enforcement.
And so you'll take the domestic, the person who's suffering, a lot of times it's women, but I know that you also have had men before, children, and then pets.
We do.
Right, so that was actually originally right before you came on board. One of the things that intrigued me so much, because my master's degree is sort of in this arena, and I just remember talking to women who would not go to the shelter because they didn't, of all the things that they wanted to not leave behind, they didn't want to leave the pet behind.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be part of the family, and it felt like they were having to choose between leaving their loved pet, their fur baby behind. So that's newer though, right? Has that always been a part of the services? And talk about what kind of impact that has made in the women, and I say women, I'm not trying to generalize, but in my mind it's originally that's mostly who came to shelters were women.
Yeah.
When the domestic violence victims come, is victims the right word?
Victims, survivors.
Survivors, I like survivors, which we'll talk about in a little bit. When they come, talk about how the increase has been when you are allowed to bring your pets.
Yeah.
You must have studied that. There must be a reason you allowed that.
Yeah, domestic violence and animal abuse is really co-related, and oftentimes animals are the first victims within a domestic violence family, because it's much easier for someone to say that the dog ran away when a dog has been hurt or even killed, or that something happened to the cat. And so that's one thing. And also, a lot of times if there are no children, the animals are utilized as far as leverage in a way to keep someone under control. So it might be that if you don't do this for me, then I'm going to do this to the dog or the cat. And it could be like withholding food. It could be punishing the dog. It could be if there's punishment that's happening, like you're going to be next, and using the dogs or the cats and the animals within that threatening way. And so what's really important with the domestic violence movement would be that a lot of times what we saw is that people would leave if they knew that they could bring their kids with them.
Right.
And so if you don't have kids, your animals are your kids, so how can we remove that barrier of you staying, and how can we help you come in? And so it started to crop up in California and also in the Midwest, that we had domestic violence centers that started including a kennel program with it. And so at Harbor House, it's been there for 6 years, the kennel itself. We're going to be having our 7th annual Pause for Peace Walk, because the Pause for Peace Walk predated. It was what got the money together to open up the kennel. And it's a great program. It's one of my favorite, and we have plans to be able to expand it, because the more that people, we have 120 beds, more people are coming in. A lot of times the kennel's completely full. We have one dog run, so we want to do some things in order to improve the kennel itself. But one of the reasons it's my favorite is because an entire family can come in. So the kids, they have their dog there as well. They can spend time with them, they can play with them. There's that unconditional love that you get from an animal. That's part of that healing process as well. We have a very loved futon in the cat room, and I say it's very loved because, like, I mean, if anybody has cats, you know that they love to, use furniture as scratching posts. So we're at the point in time where we need to replace the futon, but people will go in there and they'll take a small cat nap with their cats, and you can have that healing part of the cat purring on your chest or by you. So there's a lot of things that it's a win-win for the animals, that we're saving lives of the animals. They're not being left behind. They are there to offer comfort and support in a way that as humans we can't. And they're with their people. I mean,
it's so
that's
beautiful to
amazing.
be able to have that, because you're already in this incredibly intense, stressful situation beyond anything, and you are in an environment that is comforting and helpful, but you're still outside of your norm. And to be able to bring in your animal, which you're right, gives you, your pet, your fur baby, gives you some peace and some comfort. It's just so powerful, I think. And I've talked to some people who, not locally, but who have are survivors and have been able to bring their pet, and that was the decision maker for them to make the move. And I think that that's so powerful. And I want to talk a little bit about, in Orlando, have you seen a decrease? Are there need for more beds, less beds? Tell us what's going on in our community.
So we've been very full. Our shelter has been incredibly full this past year. And what we're seeing is that we are having people who are coming all times of year. I mean, a lot of times when there's domestic violence, people are like, oh, well, when do you have the most people coming in? And it's gonna be when the kids are out of school. And so it's going to be summertime. It's also going to be around different holiday breaks. But what we're seeing here locally is that we have people who are coming in all year round. And that's really because of the awareness that's happening within our community, that people know that there's a place to call, there's a place to come in, and that we're available for people all year round. So we're seeing that. We're also seeing with some of the changes and some of the advances in our programs, with us having an injunction for protection program, we're seeing more people come to the courthouse that are looking for representation to get an injunction. So we have that. We're seeing more people, but we're also seeing that that's across the board, that we do have the highest number of domestic violence cases in the state right now. We go back and forth between Miami, and a lot of times people look at that and they're like, that's horrible. But I'm like, yeah, it is. But what we're noticing is that people are reporting. And that's what's good about us seeing the numbers go up, is that we're really creating this environment where we are seeing that people are coming forward, they're reporting, and that's the first step we need to help hold abusers accountable.
I love that. I think as I'm a survivor, as a child survivor, and I think that it would have been so wonderful to be able to have gotten out of that. But back in the day, I mean, this is the 1900s, early 1900s, but back in the day that just wasn't the norm to do. There weren't really any places to go. You went to the hospital or the police station, and a lot of times they sent you back. The services just weren't available. And so I think back sometimes, one of the reasons why I'm such a big proponent of Harbor House, and I love the walk, and we'll get to Walk a Mile in a minute, is because I wonder what my life would have been differently if I had had the opportunity to get out of that situation. And earlier on, and been able to, the impact that would have made on the family unit that was left over. And so I'm such a big proponent of the fact that it's easier. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying it's easier to get to the services that you need, and it's more acceptable to access the services, and there's not that stigma that local law enforcement is absolutely amazing and so supportive. And I just think back sometimes about that kid or those kids that are involved and how it would have been different. So I want to encourage people who are thinking about it. You have a service here and an amazing group of people who are supportive that want to help you. So if you need help, we're going to give you the numbers and the contact information after the show. So let's talk about 8th annual Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. What does that even mean? The first time I saw red pumps, I thought there's no way you're getting me in those, and of course I caved.
Right.
But talk about the event itself.
And like the shoes come in from the side.
I
So
know.
The idea is really getting men involved and getting them involved by walking in women's shoes so that they know what it's like. I mean, that's what it basically started, and it's men holding men accountable and men engaging men in violence against women as far as saying that enough is enough. We have to hold each other accountable. Are you man enough to be able to walk a mile in shoes like this? And so that's where it all
back up for a second, because
one.
that's a real heel,
Yeah, that's another
guys.
one.
That's a stiletto, right? Or almost.
And these are size 13. This is a 12. That's a 13.
I mean, I have to tell you, the first time I did it, Mayor Dyer and I wore the exact same red pumps. And my story about the first time was I thought I knew what I was doing. I didn't practice. Got the red pumps. Obviously, had never worn high heel shoes before. Those of you who are watching, it's the truth. I had never put on high heel shoes before. And I'm walking down the cobblestone, the bricks in Orlando, and the police who were at the very back escort, they were in front of me. And so I'm the very last person walking, and because it hurts if you pick the wrong heel, or so you really have to be cognizant of that. But what it did is all it did was empower me to want to do better next time. Yeah, so we're going to talk about this is the right shoe right here. So these are yours.
These are mine.
These are yours, right? So
yep,
they're
these
awesome.
are mine.
I almost got those, I swear.
We can tell you, look at the size difference too. Like,
I mean, come on.
Anyway.
But you know, it is about walking a mile and doing something different outside your comfort zone. But also, we want you to survive the walk.
Yeah.
So you want to be careful. If you've never walked in heels before, my recommendation to you is to look at a wedge, maybe something. I didn't know what even that meant until I did the second year. You know, really kind of, you can reach out to me or reach out to anybody that's involved in the walk, because I think it's important for you to get the experience, but also we don't want ambulances later on.
We don't want people to get hurt.
No, and
it's about raising awareness and
Correct.
having a good time, but we don't want people to get hurt.
But there are men out there, so I want to encourage the men who are watching, or the women who want the men that they know to get involved. Every guy out there who's walking is in some form of heel. And they're walking in, like you said, we're all in unison, we're all trying to bring awareness, but we're all out there. So it's outside your comfort zone if you're a guy and have never worn heels before. I get that, but I want to encourage you that you're going to have a whole brotherhood and sisterhood behind you who are supporting you there. Mm-hmm. And so it might be funny to be in heels, but I can tell you you're gonna leave the experience feeling completely different.
I think you should talk about that, like the experience that you have along the walk.
Yeah, so you're along the walk, and you're all walking down Orange Avenue. They shut off all of the traffic, so you are literally walking right down Orange from the courthouse starts at the courthouse, mm-hmm. and then it ends up
in City Hall.
At City Hall.
Yeah.
And you're walking in unison. Everybody's walking together. There's people arm in arm. There's people with their signs they've made, stop domestic violence. There's guys who are 1,000% uncomfortable, and there are people around them to support them. And you feel really amazingly positive, and you get into that spirit of, this is such an important thing for us to be doing and bringing awareness about. So I want to encourage you. There's a registration fee, $25,
$25.
I think, to walk. That is such a minimal amount, and you can get teams together. I think still there's lots of things that you can do. You can walk together, bring your signs, get in a group and come out and support it. But when you're walking down Orange Avenue, you're hearing the people who normally would be honking at you because they want you out of their way. They're honking in unison, they're honking in support because they know that what we're doing is very, very important.
Absolutely.
So it's a beautiful experience, very moving, very inspiring. And the city and the county, everybody gets behind it, the county too. They come out, it's not just us. There's a lot of guys who are in offices that you wouldn't expect to see in high heels.
Yeah, they roll up their suit pants and then they do. And it's just, when you were talking about brotherhood and sisterhood, one of the things that we added, you know, who are you walking for? Are you walking for yourself? Are you walking for your sister, your mother? Are you walking in honor of? Are you walking in memory of? And that's the other thing, is that it's about being there because you're there to support survivors and support each other. And the other thing that we're adding this year we're adding luminarias to the end.
So talk about that. So at the end, when we get at the very finish line, for lack of a better word. At
the very end, there are going to be luminarias around City Hall, and they're going to be in honor of, or in memory of, in celebration of survivors that are friends and family members of people who are walking. And so we're asking people to send names in. It's a $10 fee just to get the luminaria, but that's another thing that we're adding.
I love that. When we were talking about it yesterday, I think that's so cool. That's a way for you to pay homage, pay honor, remember, because I don't know what the stats are, but I can tell you that most people I know have been impacted in one way, shape, or form by domestic violence, unfortunately. And it's either close at home or it's within an arm's length. It's not. More people than admit it have been impacted, and so there is somebody you think of. Whenever I bring it up, I've done, my master's degree is in this, so when we used to do group, and I used to watch the group, and we would bring it up, every single person had somebody that was touched by, that they could thought of when you thought of domestic violence. Mm-hmm. Every single person could think of another human being, either when they were children and they remember, or when they're adults, or in their own family. And so it's impacting us as a society and as a community. So it's super important for us to get out there and support the survivors.
I absolutely agree. One thing I really enjoy talking to you is you sharing your story of being a childhood survivor. And that's one thing that if we're going to change domestic violence and if we're going to impact and break the cycle of domestic violence, it's really starting to work with the kids.
Yes.
And so over the past few years, we've really been doing more on site with our emergency shelter as far as starting and doing more kid programming. Really working with the kids as far as resiliency, working with the kids so that they have different types of coping skills. So part of it is, as you mentioned, when you wish that there was a place where people that you could have gone with your family. So we have that place now, but it's also making sure that the services are available for every age group that's there. And so having them for the toddlers, having stuff for the teens, and having things for adults. And so with all this, you're gonna see all age groups out there walking. I think we already have 170 people who've signed up for it.
Wow,
yeah,
that's amazing.
It's gonna be great, and we're expecting that the weather's gonna be good, so we're hoping to get between 200 and 300 people out there walking. And if you're interested, definitely sign up. You can go to our website, and you can go to our website, you can go to the event area, and you'll see the registration for Welcome Out. And I wanted to say, I don't even know if we said this, but you're one of the co-chairs.
I am one of the co-chairs.
So what are you going to be doing at the actual
event?
So
I've got this really cool outfit, and I'm going to be working the red carpet. So we're going to be interviewing people, talking about your stories while you're out here. We really want people to see what's your purpose, what's your impetus, what is the reason why you're out here and supporting Harbor House. And I think it's super, super important that you come out and support. Look, if I would rather see you out there as a guy and you don't have the shoe.
But wait, do you want the red carpet to show your shoes too?
Yes, we want to. Okay, for all of you, we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna go to ego for a minute. I love it. You want people to see this, right? So Michelle, and we're gonna do some film in a minute, not live, where you're gonna be able to see the red carpet. She actually brought a full red carpet, and we're gonna walk that red carpet. Because here's what the deal. When you put that much effort into it, and you've got the consciousness to say, I want to support Harbor House, and I want to support this cause, and you're gussied up in your heels as a dude, you want to walk the red carpet. You want to be on that red carpet. You want to get pictures of this so you can show other people. Trust me, because they're not going to believe that you put on a heel like this or put on a shoe that's outside of your regular shoes. And you're out here supporting, and we want to showcase you. We want you to feel like what you're doing, that we appreciate it, and we are thankful for the support, because we really are. I know in the very beginning, the first one we did, it was just such a unique thing for Orlando, but Orlando really did embrace it. Orange County embraced it, Central Florida embraced it. And so each year we've gotten a little bit bigger, we've gotten a little bit more PR, now we got a red carpet. It's really cool stuff, but you're doing that in order to continue to build the awareness.
And there will be advocates that are going to be at the event. One of the things that we want everybody to know is that if you can't get out of the house, or if you don't have the ability to call our crisis hotline, coming to some of our different events is another way to have conversation with an advocate. And this is a really good a great supportive event for you to come out and talk to people and learn more about Harbor House and how you can get engaged, as far as get engaged because you might need services, or get engaged because you want to volunteer, or get engaged because you're an advocate like you.
Correct. And I just want to give a shout out. Some of you have said we've started forming teams. Vanessa Pierce said just created a Coldwell Banker Winter Park team.
Nice.
That's what we want you guys to do.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure we give you shout outs. So if you create a team after you've seen this, message me and I'll make sure I give you a shout out on social media, and we'll definitely look for you at the event.
Yeah, we have awards for the largest team. We have awards for the best shoe.
I won that 2 years ago,
Yes.
which was an awesome, we did a whole little photo shoot
Yes.
and stuff around that, which was fun.
And we also have one for the last man standing. So the last person who comes in, who's still wearing their heels, we have that as well.
I love that. Come on, they're making a very serious, tough subject. There's some lightheartedness to it, because we want you to know that we really appreciate the advocacy and the support and the awareness that you are helping to create.
Getting men involved in the solution, and that's really how you asked how the event started. It got started with men saying and holding men accountable, saying we have to do something about this. This is impacting our kids, our daughters, our sisters, our mothers, and we need to take a stand against violence against women. And so that's really at the core what this is about. And we're making it fun, we're making it full of energy, but at the very core, we're asking men to come out and say, enough is enough.
Yes.
You need to stop hurting women, you need to stop the abuse, and also to raise awareness that it is abuse that is touching kids, it's abuse that is touching also male victims. And so that's in male survivors. And so that's what this is about. It's really putting the focus on the fact that we're there. It's about getting everybody engaged, and that we want to make sure that everybody knows within our community that there's an agency who's there to support, and that there are men within our community who are good men who want to help support and change domestic violence in our community.
Amen to that. All right, so Harbor House of Central Florida, 8th annual Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, which is next Thursday. I don't even think we said the
I don't
date.
think we did.
February 6th. Starts in front of the courthouse on Orange Avenue and goes all the way up to
5 o'clock.
City Hall. That's right, 5 o'clock. There's going to be a red carpet. There'll be all sorts of people out there that are supporting each other and supporting the cause. And we want you to come out. We want you to support us. If you want to make a team and don't know how to do it, reach out to me. I'll get you in touch with the right people. And they've made it really easy this year, so that's good. And I want you to get out and kind of get the awareness of what's going on and see the people that are impacted by this. And so, any parting words of wisdom, anything you want to share before we head out?
And check out our website for more information. If you need help, you can always call our crisis hotline. And so just everybody be safe.
Everybody be safe. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all that Harbor House does. Thank you, Michelle, over to the left. Come out, guys. You get to see me in my outfit. Come on, who doesn't want to come out and see that? It's always a sight, man. You can't make that up. So Harbor